What is up, football fans, UFL fans, but most importantly, Houston Roughnecks fans? Welcome to Roughnecks Rundown. We finally got a win, guys, and you know what that means?
I want you to put the word out there that we back up. Understand me? We back up.
That's right. We back up. Let everybody know, guys. Let's talk about this win and all the good, the bad, and what we can look forward to now that we back up.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly.
That's right, guys. Episode 32.1. This is going to be the review episode. We're going to talk about the game against the Arlington Renegades. So the first thing, we're going to review the win. We're going to take some key takeaways from the game. Then we're going to talk about the bad. Specifically, what did we not do that great? It was definitely not the cleanest win. It was not the best win. It wasn't even like super impressive. So we got to look at the things that we did wrong and the things that we need to do better in order to build on this and keep winning. Then we're going to look at the good, because it's always very important to pay attention to the good things, to look back and say, we did this well. Let's build on that. Let's keep doing that well. Then we're going to talk about why we are back in it. Like I said, guys, we back up. I want you to let everybody know. All right, so let's review the win. We won 17-9. I put Cyril Grayson right there. Cyril had a banger of a game. A knock on him is that people say, because he was a track star in college at LSU, he didn't play college football. A lot of people's knock was that he doesn't have that great of hands because he didn't grow up playing football, and didn't play collegiately. He had great hands this weekend. He was catching everything that Reed Sinnett threw at him. Cyril, go off, buddy. You had a fantastic game. Then Sinnett has proved that he is QB1 hands down. It's a different offense when he's out there. I'm not saying that Jarrett Garantano is not a good quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that in this system right now, in this league, Reed Sinnett is the clear-cut number one quarterback. He's come in. He's already got I think it's like top 3 or 4 QBR overall average. The dude looks good. He's got a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and that interception wasn't even really his fault. Then special teams is getting better. Now, I didn't say special teams is good. Special teams is better. It's getting better because we finally had a week where we didn't get a punt blocked, but we did open up with the kickoff return. Isaiah Henney fumbled the opening kickoff return. We then didn't see him for the rest of the game. So that was a tough one, but the punts look good. The rest of the returns look good, especially we just didn't get a punt block, man. The fact that our punts did not get blocked, Hunter and Iswander got every single one off clean, is just a thing of beauty when you look at where we're coming from. And then the last thing, defense is full force. So we lost Alibe Sagapolu. We lost Carlo Kemp. Toby Johnson is injured. A lot of people were worried. The best part of our defense was the defensive line. But they still look good. Ruben was flying around. JT Tyler had like 8 tackles himself. Gabe Sewell recovered the game-winning fumble. We have a sack leader up on the leaderboard. We got Ethan Westbrooks. He's up there. I think he's 3rd or 4th in the league in sacks right now. Adam Rodriguez was the highest-rated player according to PFF on the Roughnecks defense. The defense looked very good, specifically the secondary, but we'll talk about that. Now, let's go to the downer. We got to talk about the bad, guys. We got to talk about what needs to get better. Shaky start. I think I may have misspelled shaky. That's okay. I definitely misspelled shaky, but it was a shaky start. We started off with a fumble. Then, we're turning the ball over on downs. Well, punting, but we didn't look super sharp coming out of the gate. We picked it up. It got better, obviously, especially in the second half. I mean, Luis Perez, I've never seen him that upset during a game. We were in his head. We were flying around. Just need to start a little better. Last week against the Panthers, we had a near perfect opening drive. Reed Sinnett runs it into the end zone. We need that kind of start with this kind of end. So we need to put it all together and have a complete game. Then the O-line, still not immaculate. Braylon Jones was getting manhandled a little bit, but the fact that we didn't have consistent false start penalties, if we did a hard count, we were actually able to do a hard count. I think it looked a lot better. I think Reed Sinnett was only sacked once or twice, and one of them was because he held the ball for a while, scrambled out, and then got sacked behind the line of scrimmage, but outside of the tackle box. So you can't blame them too much for that. I think they did better. Were they the worst this weekend? Definitely not, because the Memphis Showboats are out there. But then the game clock management, again, suspect. At the end of the half, we had about 2 minutes when we got the ball back. Well, we would have had 2 minutes if we called a timeout. Instead of calling a timeout, we waited. They punted it to us with about 1:20 left. And then we basically just ran the clock out to go to halftime with a lead. Now, I get wanting to go into halftime with a lead, being a little safer on the call, but the fact that we had 2 minutes, you literally practice a 2-minute drill every week. So we could have driven down. I mean, you have to believe that we could have at least gotten into field goal range and tried one. I know JJ Molson missed a field goal, but come on. He's got a good leg, man. Like, we should have at least been able to attempt a field goal. So that was very disheartening. But the rest of the game clock management and game management by Coach CJ was actually much better this week, especially going into the second half towards the end of the game. Then we need consistency. Like I said, we have to have a complete game. We can't have a great drive. We had a drive that ended in a Emmanuel Butler reception on a slant, kind of an RPO. We didn't realize it was an RPO. Reed Sinnott said that they run that play all the time. He just always hands it off. So he ran an RPO, pulled it. The defense had to respect Mark Thompson being in the backfield, and Emmanuel Butler had a one-on-one, hits him with an absolute dot on a slant. Touchdown. That was a fantastic drive. The whole time, they're really leaning into the play action. I'm going to say it right here. Mark Thompson was not 100%. I know he wasn't. He played because he had to, because if not, we could have been knocked out of the playoffs. Like I said, the playoffs started last week. We have to basically win out to make sure that we can make it into the playoffs. So Mark wasn't 100%. And so you could kind of tell by the way that they were calling the plays. This week, not even on the injury report. He's good now. But going into this game, they wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get re-injured. And so they didn't run him that much. I think he only had 9 attempts. So they leaned on the play action a lot because the defense didn't know. Nobody else knew that he wasn't 100%. So we have to make sure that we utilize that. We're going to use the play action and make that defense come up, make them respect the run, make them respect the former Offensive Player of the Year, modern era USFL touchdown leader. And because of that, our receivers were getting open. Reed Sinnott's able to scramble, get the ball into Justin Hall's hands. He was absolutely electric. Kiki Chisholm, Emmanuel Butler, they were all catching the ball. And then Cyril Grayson, man, the game of his career. He looked so good this game. His speed was fully on display. And the fact that he showed that he had hands, he was catching everything thrown to him. Cyril Grayson, go off, man. But we need to make sure that that's consistent. We had 2 different drives that looked very good. The play calling was immaculate. Everything was executed very well. Mark Thompson ran a touchdown in. Emmanuel Butler scored that touchdown. The 2-point conversion to Braden Bowen was a thing of beauty. We just need to be doing that more consistently, because other than that, we really did have a lot of 3 and outs. We had a lot of drives that started promising and then ended abruptly. So we just need the consistency. We just need to make sure that we are taking advantage of every opportunity that we're given. Now, let's move on to the good. Why? Because we need to focus on the good. So before I get into all these, which a lot of you, if you watch the game, you know this, I want to talk about winning. We won. A winning culture is huge. Why? Because when you win games, you are much more likely to win more games. Everybody has been talking about how things seem bad in Houston, how people are upset, players, all this stuff. A lot of that is because they were losing. If you come out and you lose 3 games in a row to start the season, it's like a cancer. Losing is a cancer that grows within an organization, and everybody's going to be unhappy. Nobody is happy losing. It's like in Moneyball, where Brad Pitt came in and he said, "Why are you all dancing?" And he busted up the jukebox with a baseball bat, and it was silent. And he said, "That right there, that is the sound of losing." It is. It's dark. It's quiet. People don't like it. I would go out on a limb. I'd probably bet money on it that this week at practice, players are having a better time because coaches, players alike, probably even the training staff, everybody is having a better time because we won. That means that our odds this week against the reigning 2-time USFL champions, the Birmingham Stallions, are better than they would have been if we had lost. If we had lost, people would have been giving up. The cancer would have grown too far. We would have been dead in the water. I love that we won going into this week because we're going to build on it. That's what we have to do. we have to take it. We have to focus on the positives like we're about to do right now, talking about the good. And we have to let that winning spread throughout the organization and turn this thing around. No team that goes and wins an entire championship and doesn't lose any games or one game has a bad time. The Birmingham Stallions, all they do is talk about how much they love being Birmingham Stallions and blah, 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 because they win. If they started losing games, if they lost 2-3 games in a row, I guarantee that there would be people reporting, oh, there's unrest in the locker room, blah, blah, blah. That only happens when you're losing. Now we won. Let's focus on the good. Number one, Mark is back. Mark, like I said, not 100%, but he dang looked like Mark Thompson. The dude put a guy on the ground with a juke. Coming off a knee injury, that is an impressive feat. To come off a knee injury and literally juke a guy out of his cleats. Chef's kiss. Fantastic. He ran hard. He was running through some tackles. Something about Mark, he always falls forward. You know, when you talk about Chris Johnson, when you talk about Adrian Peterson, you talk about these big time NFL running backs, a big thing that they look for is they always fall forward. Mark does that. He looked good. He had a couple big runs. Like I said, we didn't give him the ball that much. And you could tell that they were just trying to ease him back into the offense, which I love, because now this week he's going to come in like a wrecking ball, just a train coming through, destroying things. I'm very excited to see what happens week 2, so very, very excited about that. Reed makes reads. So, dude, Reed Sinnott has truly cemented himself as QB1. The fact that we had like 7 or 8 different receivers catch passes this weekend. We saw Woody Brandon got the ball. Braden Bowen got the ball. The tight ends did a fantastic job. Let's talk about the tight ends coach, Jordan Higgins. He had those guys looking good. The tight ends looked about as good as I've ever seen tight ends on this team in the Houston era of USFL and now Roughnecks. They looked fantastic. Braden Bowen, Woody Brandon, both got receptions. Cyril Grayson, Kiki Chisholm, Justin Hall, and Emmanuel Butler. And then he threw a couple passes to TJ Pledger. He threw one to Mark that he dropped. But the fact that he's spreading it out and every single one of these guys is catching the ball because, one, we have a more impressive wide receiver core than people want to admit. But two, because Reed Sinnott is putting the ball in a great area. A big thing, I think a lot of people hype up Jordan Ta'amu. I think he is very inaccurate. There's a lot of balls that are overthrown. His receivers really are making up for it and making him look better than he is. Reed Sinnott throws great balls. He throws with really good accuracy. And so the fact that he was able to get in there, you could tell he was truly comfortable because instead of, oh, Kiki Chisholm had a really good game this week. Oh, Emmanuel Butler had a really good game this week. You couldn't pick a player of the week from the receivers because he was hitting all of them and he was going through his reads and he was checking down to the second, third read, scrambling, and he was making it happen. So Reed Sinnott looked great. We're going to talk about that in a second. The defense was stifling. Luis Perez, like I said earlier, he was absolutely pissed off. This dude did not like playing us. We were hitting him after plays. I think we got 1, maybe 2 sacks. 2 sacks. Chris Odom and Ethan Westbrooks each had a sack. He was not happy. We were getting to him. We were covering the receivers really well. And we were stopping the run, which was a very big thing. They love their pass game, but if they have actually no run, Devion Smith is not getting it between the tackles, Letty Brown not getting it between the tackles, it really does hurt Luis Perez's production. And he was very obviously annoyed by it and just couldn't figure out what to do. So that was huge. The defense looked great week 1. Then it started looking like it was regressing. And now it has progressed back to what it looked like week 1. So it was very exciting. We kept them within double digits score-wise. That is huge. Last thing is Keandre Thomas. Dude, I've been telling you guys since week 1 that wait for Keandre Thomas to come back. He was suspended. I knew we were getting him back week 4. Lionel Vitale said, this is our best corner. And wow, he came in and literally 1 week of practice, CB1 comes in, starts the game, has a 65-yard interception, has 2 pass breakups, which is really impressive, and has 3 tackles. Keandre Thomas is my Roughnecks player of the week. It's just incredibly impressive to come off of 1 week of practice. You know, you haven't been with the team since training camp, and to have that good of a game, dude, go off, Keandre. That was such a good game. I am so excited. Him and Corn Elder. Corn was on the injury list. I'm hoping that he's okay. He's going to play this week. But him, Corn, Jimmy Moreland, Colby Richardson, these guys rotating around, moving around, our corners look good. So that was very exciting. Now let's talk about the quarterback. I love talking about the quarterback because Reed Sinnott is the best quarterback that I have seen since I started covering the Houston spring football team. So the first 2 years of the Houston Gamblers, and then coming in now with the Houston Gamblers wearing the Roughnecks uniforms, Reed Sinnett's the best quarterback I've seen yet, by far. He went 18 for 28, 191, 96 passer rating, and he had a passing touchdown. No interceptions. That's huge. To not turn the ball over. We only had one turnover this game, and it was the opening kickoff. Isaiah Henney fumbled it. That sucks. We stopped him to a field goal, though, so that's impressive. But he's looking good. He's putting us in a position to win. He's not the one making mistakes. Like, it's upsetting that people are blaming players when it's the undisciplined, like some coaching, the fact that we have a bunch of false starts, in the past games. This is not Reed's fault. Reed is throwing good balls. He's making good reads. He's moving through his progressions, and he's moving well in the pocket. A lot of people, my co-star on Polar Opposites Web, their grievance with Reed Sinnett is that he's not the most mobile quarterback, and you have to have a mobile quarterback in spring football. No, he moves very well. It's like when Ben Roethlisberger, you didn't think that he was going to go run the ball on you, but you couldn't take him down in the pocket. He moved very well. He's shifty enough in the pocket and elusive enough to avoid sacks. Reed Sinnett is like that. The dude, he's got the height, he's got the arm, he moves around, and he doesn't take sacks. So Reed Sinnett, absolutely balling. I'm loving watching this guy. Like I said, best quarterback I've watched since covering Houston. And it's a great thing. So there's so much good coming out of this game. I know there was bad. We fumbled. We had a couple drives that stopped. They had a couple decent drives against us. But we came out with the win, guys. We held them to under 2 scores. We back up, man. We are right back in it. We are tied with the Memphis Showboats, who look to have completely imploded. They literally are pulling Case Cookus 2 games in a row. The second game he was hurt, but literally pulling him because they're like, you're going to get hurt. We're not going to win this game. So they're going to fall down. The Panthers, EJ Perry is injured right now. We have to take advantage. We're 1 game behind the Panthers. We're tied with the Showboats. We play the Stallions this week. If we can win a head-to-head with the Stallions, and then we go and we can beat the Showboats and the Panthers in our next matchups, we are right there in the playoff race. Okay? We have not been blown. We got blown out one time by the Panthers, but that was because of EJ Perry, and he's hurt. So we're right back in it, guys. Let everybody know we back up. Rough them up. Drill, baby, drill. I can't wait to see you guys next time.
I'm in the big leagues. Told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston. Hey, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bro.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the UFM United Football Media. If you like that, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you want more videos, you can check them out on our channel over here. The best one for you is right here. And then if you like mine, the rest of my playlist is right here. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you next time.